Hello, welcome everyone, and welcome Dr. Fishburn. So good to have you here with us. And hello everyone, as you're coming on, always great to connect with our beautiful Sama Dog community. We are here today with our Sama Saturday, our once a month show. We're a little bit later today because Sama Dog is in the midst of a 6-week program, Total Wellbeing for Dogs. So we just finished week 5 just a few minutes ago, and it was very special. We talked about animal communication today, and it really leads us right into what is our focus in Sama Dog this month is all about our spiritual connection with our dogs and all the different ways and expressions that comes through, whether it's just, of course, in our bond and our depth of our relationship, or maybe it's in their the experience of having a long life with them and all of the journeys that we go on. Maybe it's even in the experience of their passing and them being part of our life after they've left this physical body. So that's what we're talking about with this connection with the spiritual connection, the deep bond that we have in that space and that opportunity for healing at that level of our being. All of us have that similarity within us, that light of the divine that is the core of our essence. And so when we are able to see beyond that physical boundary, you could see it as, or at least the physical body, a human, a dog, a cat, a bird, a plant, we're able to see deeper and connect deeper and know deeper into that being. And this is why animals, to me, have been such a spiritual path, really have been a way for me to connect to the deepest aspects of myself and life's existence all through the scope of a dog. And so today, why I share this is because today we're going to go even a little deeper into this conversation and have an experience led by the beautiful Dr. Isla Fishburn, who's here with us. And we're so blessed and so grateful. Thank you, my dear and my friend, for being willing to join us. And Dr. Fishburn and I connected probably a year ago or so through a mutual friend who told me about her for many years and prior to that. And then finally we made our way onto a wonderful conversation that immediately was, kindred spirits just coming together and that familiarity and love. And then I followed her as a student since. She is a force of nature in this world. She is totally unique, which I will explain here in just a moment, a little bit more about her background. But she's going to guide us today through kind of a shamanic ceremony and soul work with our dogs. So she'll give us a little sampling of one of her offerings that she now has created and is available for anyone watching this, anyone in the world. She does it remotely, obviously. She's in the UK, by the way, so it's nighttime for Dr. Fishburn. Well, we're just waking up to this very interesting day that Americans, at least, or the whole world really has come into today, but certainly a very memorable day and a great day also to come into a place of peace and of stillness and acceptance and love, because, all of this information is rather ungrounding. And so let me just explain a little bit about Dr. Fishburn and we'll get right into it. There's nothing that you need to do or anything that you need to prepare for. Just your presence is all that's necessary. So she is one of the world's most unique practitioners, I would say, a canine wellness practitioner and a shamanic practitioner for people and for dogs. She has a bachelor's of science in zoology, a master's of biological science, and a PhD in conservation biology. So not only is she extremely educated and has a huge, vast history in all of this, like her experience and her application into the world of shamanism has been like I said, totally unique to anyone on the planet that I'm aware of. Anyone who I mentioned Dr. Fishburn to, they all have something to say about it. Anyone that's in the field of animal wellness, it's like, oh my gosh, I know her and I experienced her once, or I was at a conference, or I was just on with Joan Ranquette and she was like, she and I did an interview years ago and I just remember it so well. She's a remarkable woman. So she has founded her organization called Kachina Canine, kachinacanine.com. Of course, we'll put that up in the communication here, and has had a long interest in nature, vibrational healing, and conservation for a healthy planet, which with much focus on combining science and indigenous wisdom. So thank you again, Dr. Isla, for being here and you can just go ahead and just explain a little bit more about what you got going on.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really, really lovely. And yeah, like good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, like Amanda said, just taking a bit of a pause, right, of just the news that's come out for America in particular, but the news that's kind of spreading throughout the world. So I appreciate and honor that. It's a big change in a big time right now as well. So I'm going to talk you through just a little bit of the shamanic work that I do for dogs to give you a bit of a feel of what it's like, of what it's going to involve, and to give you a little bit of experience as well of what Amanda received when I did one for her beautiful dog Violet, which I'm aware that many of you know, many of you kind of have met in person or kind of met via remote courses that you've been doing with Amanda. And then I'm going to do a time check, and if everyone's still kind of like engrossed and kind of wants to absorb just a little snippet of the session, a lot of the session itself is going to be like quite sacred, so it's not really something I would do online for a lot of people to see. It's done quite privately in that sense, but there's some stuff that I can share and kind of get you feeling into, and a little way of connecting to your dog. So for a long time, since I was a child, I've had a deep fascination with shamanism. Started to read about it since I was like 8 years old, in fact. And yeah, it's kind of just been a hobby, I suppose, just something that I found so fascinating, and just like, wow, wouldn't it be really amazing to be able to do this work in this way and to connect from not just the physical aspect and the physical understanding of how a being works, but also like the non-physical aspect, like Amanda's mentioned, the spiritual aspect as well. And so it was all just kind of a dream, really. I mean, even as a child, I would kind of make believe that I was a shaman creating all these different things and moving into different beings. And I made the decision 8 years ago now that I read so many books. I was reading so many books around the subject, the phenomena, the fascination of this deep just understanding of the world and connection of the world, that I was like, I'm not really getting anything more from the books that I read, so I wanted to go deeper. And so I kind of just made the decision and the commitment to learn and practice and study shamanic practices, with a particular focus of making life better for dogs, making life better for humans, and vibrationally that making life better for the earth, because we are not separate. And as I started to do this work more deeply and more intensively for myself, and as I started to do this for my own dog, so one of my dogs, I do it for all my dogs, so one of my dogs has had several traumas very early on in her life. I started to notice really big changes, and really big changes, you know, sometimes it's like, because I am a canine wellness practitioner, I look sometimes just at the behavior, but what I've realized is like, it's still a separation. We can't have one without the other. So that's why I love combining science with indigenous wisdom. I love combining the physical being with the non-physical, because again, it's a duality that both have to come together to create a wholeness, to create circle, to create this hoop. And I found it so fascinating that I just wanted to explore, like, how does this make a difference for dogs that, you know, maybe have certain challenges, or where their human guardian just wants to understand their dog on a deeper level. And this is where, as from a human perspective, we can stay so linear, we can get so focused on, this is my dog's challenge, or this is what I want my dog to be, or we kind of fixate on a particular problem that we feel is a problem. But actually for the dog's like, yeah, this is what my physical body's experiencing. This is the limitation of my physical body. But like, when you look inside my soul, this is what my soul is. This is how my soul is. This is what my spirit is wanting right now. And what's really beautiful is with that, we get this collection of this really ancient being, this beautiful ancient spirit that we all are, and that our dog is, and our dogs are, but then kind of matched and mirrored with like the the being that your dog, the spirit of your dog is in right now. So the spirit of your dog is in a dog. So you can kind of get this beautiful mix and duality of this really kind of deep wisdom, and then like, oh, there's a squirrel, which is really beautiful. It's just this innocence that we see, this purity that we see in not just the spirit, but also our canine friends and other animals as well. So I've done quite a few ceremonies for dogs now, and the way that I like to do it is that I like what I say to go in blind. So I just like a photograph of the dog and the dog's name, and actually if the dog has been neutered or not. Now the reason I say that is because one of the things that I like to focus on is to see if the dog needs a soul retrieval. So what can happen in life, in any animal's life, is it can be a major trauma, a major shock, a car accident, abuse, a loss, anything like that, which is a huge shock to the system. But equally, it can be something really quite mild that for the dog as an individual at the time that it's living at this present time, that with the spirit that the dog, that the dog's body that the spirit is in, a trauma can happen that can be really huge for the dog, or just something like that we would think is not really important or relevant, and actually for the dog at that time it has been. So one of the things that I love exploring is the concept of a soul retrieval, which is where there has been a shock to the system. And this is why it varies from individual to individual. It's like asking how long's a piece of string, right? Because how long, we don't know. It depends on the individual. But yeah, exploring to see when an animal has had a shock to the system, part of its spirit, part of its kind of collective functioning just pops out. And from a psychology perspective, it's classed as dissociation. From a spiritual perspective and from a shamanic perspective, it is like, no, part of the spirit has left the field of that being. And so there's a particular ceremony in a particular way that I kind of basically would go into an altered state of consciousness and just access, like, wow, is part of the soul, is a soul retriever required, is that needed? And if so, there's a particular way of doing it, there's a particular song that we sing, a particular ceremony, and that doesn't apply to all dogs. I've had clients contact me because like, oh, I think my dog needs a soul retrieval, and actually the dog's like, no, I'm like, this is what's up and this is what I need, but a soul retrieval isn't necessary. And sometimes it's the other way around. It's the priority has been actually the dog needed a soul retrieval. And so this is why I like to go in blind, because as humans we might say, oh, well, actually I want to focus on this, I want to focus on that, and I think my dog has this problem, this challenge, but again, that comes from our perspective or what we might want our dog to be. It might, our dog's reactive to other dogs and I want to take my dog to the beach, and for the dog's physical being, that might be like, well, yeah, that's who I am, but that's not what my spirit is a priority for, what I'm bothered about, or kind of what I want to express through my soul and through my spirit. So it's really just me going in and connecting to the spirit of the dog and just going like, hey, like, what's up? What do you need? Is it a soul retrieval? Is it a particular request? Is it a particular circumstance that you need removal from? Is it a past life? Some past life stuff's come up with dogs where I've done a ceremony and kind of removed the past life stickiness, for want of a better word, that was shaping how the dog was responding in this life, and literally the next day the dog's like a totally different dog. So it doesn't always work like that, and it's not about the shamanic ceremony being like, let's fix your dog. It's like, let's just look at your dog's spirit, your dog's soul, and seeing what is coming up. So that's why I go in blind, so that there's no preconceived ideas or expectations or like, well, this is what I want us to explore. I'm not asking from the human perspective, I'm asking from literally the spirit of your dog, which is really beautiful and really profound and really really connecting in a really, really deep way. And then all manner of things can come through, certain requests, certain songs, tunes. Like with Amanda, Violet really asked for light language, and I'm going to share some of that with you today as well. And when I kind of was like sharing my light language with Violet, she was like, yeah, yours is all right, but I want my mum's light language. So then we're like to Amanda, okay, well, one of your challenges is this is something for you to learn as well. So it really opens up our world, not only with this deep spiritual connection with our dog, but actually opens up our world about the spiritual being that we are and how we're connected to the entire cosmos, how we're connected to just the entirety of the universe and the deep spiritual being that we are as well. So what can also happen, the reason why I ask, the reason why I go in blind, but specifically ask if the dog has been neutered, is because sometimes if a soul loss has happened, so if a soul retrieval is needed, not all the time, but in some circumstances, the soul aspect and the completion of that soul aspect being brought back is kind of incomplete, because part of the dog's now energy system and physical being that makes up the non-physical part of that dog is also complete as well. So it's one just to bear in mind. It hasn't happened to me often, but it has happened, and that can also just kind of still create these challenges that we are experiencing, or our dogs are experiencing, in their physical reality right now. So to give you just like a few examples, how this ceremony begins, what it looks like is basically I spend about 2 hours. So it's all done remotely, like Amanda says, it's all done on Zoom, but I'll spend about 2 hours in ceremony. So that will involve chanting, dancing, working with my drum that's behind me, going into an altered state of consciousness. And then at that point, I'll just then connect to the dog's soul. So based on the picture that is sent to me, I just welcome the dog's soul into this space. And again, there's a particular ceremony that I set up that makes sure it's a safe space. It's filled with protection. I call in my guides. So I work with my guides and my spirit helpers and my power animals. And I just connect to the dog's spirit from that level. So the dog is communicate with me in that sense, but it's kind of spirit to spirit, and all manner of things can come up in terms of exploration, in terms of the dog's energy centers, something that's happened in a past life, something that happened that was, for example, like I've said, it was a trauma, something that the dog needs in this life, something that the dog longs for, from something that's very, very ancient, something that the dog wants to hear. It also includes energy healing and healing itself. So then I'll work with my tools, and I'm looking down because I have my tools in front of me, whether it's a feather, whether it's a rattle, whether it's stones, whether it's just my hands. So sometimes I need to scoop things out, sometimes I need to seal things up, sometimes I need to remove. So all manner of things can come through, which is why it's so exciting, because I just never know what to expect, and therefore can never really say what is going to happen. And that's the beauty of it, because therefore there has to be a rawness and an authenticity and an honesty there of just like, you know what, I'm literally just sharing with you what's come through me from connecting with your dog's soul, with your dog's spirit. So that makes it really beautiful. And then after I do that ceremony, we basically jump on Zoom together. During the time I'm in ceremony, and I know Amanda can jump in if she wants to, where during the time that I'm in ceremony, I've also done a recording which includes some singing, some chanting, some drumming, so that you and your dog, literally whilst I'm connecting with your dog, can just be in that zone as well. And it's really powerful. It creates this beautiful triangle, and I love the power of triangles. But it creates this beautiful triangle between like me, your dog, and yourself, where we're all kind of in ceremony together, and we're kind of in our own homes, but in ceremony together. And then we get to meet on Zoom, and then I'll talk you through everything that I received, everything I needed to share. Sometimes, like, I remember I worked with one dog that was sensitive of noise, really sensitive of noise. That's what came through. I didn't know that at the time, but that's what came through. But what the dog asked for was sounds of basically being underwater. So it was just like, he was like, when you're underwater, there's like, everything is just numbed down. Everything is really, you can just hear that sound. And then it was like, wow. And it also is then like being in the uterus, in the womb. So sometimes I then have to go off and do a little bit of research myself of finding, I'm kind of on YouTube listening to all these different tracks, and I'm like, no. And I'm still in tune with the dog of, is it this one? No, okay, that's not quite right. That one's quite, this one, okay, this one's perfect. All manner of things come through. The latest one that I did, which was really beautiful, I've never had before, was the dog was really show me these symbols. He showed me these symbols that he wanted drawing around his different energy centers, and with each symbol and with each energy center there was a particular essential oil just to go on the finger of the guardian to then draw around. And that became really, really deep. He was a really ancient being. So there's that, but then at the same time, this dog with the spirit of this animal that's embodying that of a dog right now is still going to be then, like, as I said before, like, I'm this really ancient being, and this is the wise information that I want to share, and this is my life, and this is what I'm sharing with you. And then they're like, oh, but squirrel. So this stuff was really telling me about, what came through really strongly in this sense. I can smell it, I can taste it. Whereas the dog also wanted like jack potato with melted butter, and this dog was just like, just jack potato melted butter, oh my goodness, it's so good. And when I relayed that to the guardian, she was like, that's like, oh my god, like he literally will eat that over raw food. Like he loves jack potato and melted butter. So it's this beautiful playfulness and this humor, which again, this is what I love about our dogs. They tell us, they really remind us of and give us this glimpse of this really wild, primitive, ancient being that we all are, but then in this kind of modern day world, and the duality of that, mixing with the duality of us being physical beings, but also being spiritual beings. And I just feel, for all the years that I've been working with wellness and behavior, which really is so important and massively plays its part, you know, it's still the circle is not complete. We're looking at physical health, mental health, emotional wellness, emotional nourishment for all of life, for ourselves, for our dogs. And yet for me, hugely what is still missing is this spiritual nourishment. And so because of that, ourselves, and therefore our dogs, you know, our dogs literally spend, you know, our cats can go outside or, you know, go in a different room, or our horses can be put out into fields. But our dogs literally, everything is a vibration, and they're so connected to us that, you know, so many of us are experiencing spiritual malnourishment, that our dogs are as well. And it's so profound and so powerful when we get to do these ceremonies for our dogs, and we get to do them for ourselves, where we are really merging and blending all of the dog's circle, the dog's wholeness, the dog's ecosystem, the dog's organism together. And this is why I love looking at the spiritual side, because it's not only has it helped me so much, but when I start to do this with my dogs, and particularly with my dog Tunkasila, who she has had trauma, and so I've done a few soul retrievals with her, because so again, doesn't happen all the time. I don't want you to go into panic mode here, but sometimes what can happen is any being, so ourselves, dogs, horses, any animal, can sometimes need a soul retrieval after surgery. So again, it's not all the time, so don't panic. They're like, oh, my dog had surgery, it's going to need a soul retrieval. That doesn't always happen. I've done these ceremonies for dogs that have had surgeries, and the soul retrieval wasn't required. But for Tunkasila, because of the trauma that she's had, she, you know, a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago now, she actually had to have an operation. And so I set all the space up for her. But she still, like, her communication to me was like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, I know you don't want to go, but like, we haven't got a choice. You need this operation. And so when she came back, and so I just gave it 24 hours, but after 24 hours, I just checked in, did a ceremony, checked in, and was just like, do you need, you know, did some of your spirit kind of go off? Did you have dissociation? Have you had a soul loss? And she had. So I did a soul retrieval then as well. So we can kind of do these little top-ups, but because of the trauma that she's had, when I first had the opportunity to explore this, I really explored a soul retrieval for her, which helped hugely. She is reactive. She struggles to cope in certain situations, which I would much prefer to say and use. But yeah, she is sensitive and fearful around strangers, both humans and dogs. But after the soul retrieval, that has massively improved her acceptance. She's still not going to be a dog that can be off lead and be friends with everybody and be certainly close, like in a short space of time. But in comparison to how she used to be, even with the protocols that I've tried and various advice from other professionals as well. So it's a really powerful component of not only supporting our dogs in the physical reality that they are now, and this physical being that they are, but also supporting their spirit and what their spirit has experienced, including past lives, and also what their spirit needs. It's just giving them opportunity to go, this is me, this is who I am, this is where my priority lies right now. And this is why, as I say, I like to go in blind, because often as humans, we fixate on like, it must be this, it must be that, it must be the other. And often it's just incredible, the stuff that comes through. And once that comes through, it really provides such a difference. I mean, every ceremony that I've done, I've had some amazing feedback of just like, can't believe the change in my dog, can't believe how different my dog is. And that is not only from like a soul to soul connection of like, wow, was so profound. It's really opened my eyes of literally who we are and why we're here and what it means in terms of the spiritual aspect of our being ourselves, but also some real life practical changes. One of my clients, the dog did not like to be touched whatsoever, even by the guardian. Since the ceremony, the dog is sparkle, like asking for touch, asking for massage, asking for this this kind of sensory stimulation on a daily basis. There was another client who was really quite agitated, aggravated, frustrated. And since the ceremony, which again, really powerful stuff came through, and it's very real and very there's a lot of imagery that I receive and get sent, but again, they changed a lot. So that included a change in food, a change in things around the house, a change in kind of what the dog needed. And but ever since then, the dog is a totally different dog. So it's not only kind of spiritually profound and provides for spiritual need and support, it also can provide for real life situations, physical support as well. So this is why I love it, because it provides you with a deeper opportunity to allow your dog to be heard, a deeper understanding of like, wow, I wouldn't even think that this would come through. Like, I don't even know what this is. And sometimes for me, I'm like, I don't know what that is. We're gonna have to have a look. And that's why it's great. And then you go in blind, you speak to the guardian, they're like, wow, that makes so much sense. And that's why there's then no kind of preconceived ideas or like, oh, this is what the guardian wanted to explore, but this is where the dog's taking me to. It literally is, this is your dog's time to speak from a spiritual perspective and soul perspective. So what I really love to share is just a little bit of what that can feel like and what that can look like. It's not about, I'm not going into a ceremony with the dog right now. That is sacred, so that would be kept for private. But just a little bit of how you can just yourself experience connecting with your dog in this way, and just some of the things that are brought into the video that you get sent, with the drumming, with the chanting. And also what I feel really drawn to do, because this is something that Violet, I've had some other dogs that have asked for this, but because Violet asked for it as well, and because I know so many of you know Violet, that I'm going to just share with you like my light language. A light language is really, really beautiful. And I think, I know what can really support dogs is that we must remember to have a consciousness with the words that we speak, because words are medicine. Words hold a vibration, and we're not taught that. And it's a really important thing to remember, to be conscious of the words that we speak, because words can can hurt. They can praise, or they can hurt. They can harm, or they can raise someone else's vibration. So this also affects our dogs. The words that we speak can also affect our dog's vibration. And the light language is really, I'm sure some of you watching already know, maybe already speak light language. And if you do and you've never spoken to your dogs before, I really recommend going doing it, because it's such an ancient, deep within us, like within our DNA, within our bones, this language that really supports our dogs. And I feel it supports our dogs, because it's like, wow, we're speaking to our dogs, but not with words that we kind of know that are English, and words that might also hold a different vibration to our dog, because maybe we've shouted at our dog before, or we shouted at somebody else, or we've said that word with a particular emotion. Whereas the light language is really like ancient, and it's healing. It activates really, really deep, almost like parts of that junk DNA that are remained inactive. It's really activating and healing, and really supportive for dogs. I haven't had all dogs ask for it, but certain dogs will certainly ask for it. So I'm going to just share with you a little bit of light language, and we'll then we're going to start actually by just doing a little guided meditation. We'll do a guided meditation of just feeling that connection with your dog. So they'll be aware that I'll do that. I'm then going to go into the light language, and then I'm just going to drum just for a little bit. And again, just allow your dogs to express how they need to express. If you drum for your dog anyway, then they're going to be familiar with this noise. But for some dogs, at first when they hear it, they can be like, "Oh, what's that?" So I'm just going to do it really lightly, and then build up and build it up. And then I'm going to share with you. So at the end of a ceremony, I always ask, so when I'm still in ceremony before we connect, I always ask the dog, like, is there anything else that you want to share? Is there anything that you want to say? And what I do is I just basically go into automatic writing. So I just hold my pen, I'm in a darkened room and I just write and see what comes through. And so I've already had the kindest of permission from Amanda to share with you what Violet wanted to say, which was really beautiful and profound. So I'll share that as well. And then, we'll see if there's like any questions, or I can divulge a little bit more of the ceremony. So my candle, if you can probably see it flicking around my face, so the candle's already lit. I've already kind of set the space before we open tonight. And so I want to get some music ready, which I can do. And it's important for me to just put this around my head. Yeah, so I did a little ceremonies yesterday as well for so many dogs that were suffering with fireworks last night. Oh, well, not just last night, but the entire week. And with the news in America, right, that's probably gonna have lots of fireworks. We have lots of fireworks this time of year because of bonfire night, but I imagine there'll be celebrations throughout. So we can do it for all manner of different support for our dogs, as I say, as the physical being that they are. But for me, it's getting people to understand and to recognize the non-physical part that also makes up our dog, the non-physical part that also makes up ourselves, and really honoring that, like this ancient being that is having this present day experience right now. So yes.
Isla, I just have one question. I've always wondered, why do you wrap your
that's
head
a really good question.
as part of your
So this is
ceremony?
why you'll see often like psychics. The psychics will have like a band around the head. So when we are connecting, when we're connecting like with spirit, so whether it's our spirit helpers, spirit guides, the power animals of your dog, or if I'm working with a human, their power animals or spirit guides, it means our third eye is really open. So we're accessing our psychic abilities, and it kind of keeps it protected so that we're only focusing on what it is we want to focus on and calling in, rather than other energies kind of getting into that space. So it kind of is a way of protecting the third eye as we're working in a sacred and ceremonial way. Does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely.
Cool, perfect. And I kind of feel like I want to switch the light out for this because it's better when we kind of in a little bit of darkness. Make sure it's not too dark.
And then I'll come back in and join you, of course, whenever you want me to. And
let me just feel into. I'm going to start with. Let me feel into. No, it's okay. I'm going to start with playing some music and taking you on a little guided meditation. Let me just turn this up a bit. Okay, so just take a few deep breaths. You can place your hand on your heart. This is now just time to stop and to feel into that with your heartbeat. As your heart is beating, so is your dog's heartbeat. And through this universal vibration, you and your dog are connected to each other and to all of life. Everything is a vibration. And your dog doesn't have to be with you. Your dog can be in another room because he or she will know exactly what is happening and maybe just wants a little bit of space. So don't be asking your dog to lie next to you or to stay or to wait. Excuse me. Just take a really nice deep breath in and out. We're just going to awaken now just our energy centers as we start to connect our dog. So to begin with, we are just seeing from above us. It's beautiful light from source, beautiful cosmic energy just start to pour down into our crown center. This is a space that sits just above the top of our head. It's exactly the same place of our dog's crown center as well. Really seeing this liquid light just fill up this space so that there is just nothing but light now in this place. Nothing but light. And then this liquid light then starts to spill over and pour into the third eye place that is in the same space for our dogs. Again, just really seeing this light fill up this space. Just noticing any sound or vibration. Just being and feeling refreshed. Just now being nothing but light in this place. And seeing this really beautiful liquid light now pour over and down into the throat center. This light's really playful, it's just dancing and swirling. Really allowing this to transform anything that doesn't need to be there in the throat center, this place that can be so easily blocked or heavy if we don't speak with kind words or wise words, or maybe just don't speak up, don't speak our truth, but not in an insensitive way. Same for our dogs that need to express themselves through their vocalizations of opening up that throat center. Really just allowing this beautiful light to just dance and swirl and move. Turning this space into nothing but light. And now this beautiful light starts to move out and into the heart center. That space and place of coherence. That space and place of compassion, of absolute love for the self and of others. That place of truth and authenticity. Really allowing this liquid light to just dance and swirl and just refresh the heart center, just allowing it to be opened and to just be filled with light. We're just going to allow this beautiful light to sit in the heart center as we now bring our attention down to earth energy, Mother Earth energy. We really feel it now drawing up from deep within earth, deep, deep, deep up into our base center. Really feeling this energy, like push the base center, really stretch it. Just bringing a freshness, bringing in a newness, bringing in grounding, abundance, just like nature herself. Nature is full of abundance. This beautiful earth energy then is moving up from the base center now into the will center, the sacral center, that place of creation and creativity. All the ideas and dreams and passions that we have, not just for ourselves, but also for our dogs to have the best life, where we can put all the practical work now into effect. Really feeling this earth energy just swirl and move this energy center as it naturally should be moving. And now this beautiful earth energy moves up into the power center, the solar plexus. That place of our emotions, that place of value, really value ourselves and value our dog, and knowing that we are with our dog now to have this experience that we are having. Knowing that somewhere there was this agreement so that we learn, that we know better, that we grow together. Now this beautiful earth energy moves up into the heart space, that heart center. And it starts to mix with this beautiful light energy that is sitting in the heart center. You see the two mixing together, dancing and swirling, the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine, coming together as one. And as they dance together, creating this kind of potency, this alchemy, they start to create this chord. This chord comes all the way out from your heart center, out, and connects with your dog's heart center. So at the same time, this Mother Earth energy and cosmic energy is coming out of your dog's heart center, and you're joining together. This allows you to connect. Soul to soul, spirit to spirit. And as you feel that chord and you feel that connection, you're now just going to stay in the middle world, but imagine that you're going out your front door. As you go out your front door, you arrive at your favorite place. This could be a place on your doorstep where you take your dog. It could be a favorite holiday destination or a favorite childhood memory place that you played when a child. Or it could be a place that your imagination has made for you. It's absolutely perfect. Don't judge it, just explore it. And just tell your dog, you are safe. You are loved and you are safe. And when you get to this favorite place, it's like, wow, it's so peaceful, and just this deep knowing, this deep happiness, this deep peace. Knowing that this place is absolutely safe, this place is absolute freedom. That this place is for you and you only. And in this place now, you sit down and feel your back up against a tree or a beautiful big rock. And you just feel that tree or that rock just cradle you, it supports you and holds you, and you feel the energy, the spirit of that tree or that rock that also has life, also has spirit. And as you lie with your back against that tree, that rock, you're just giving your dog permission to be who he or she needs to be. Whether they're running around, just having a great time chasing a butterfly, whether they're jumping around in long grass, maybe they're just resting their head on your leg. Again, we just say to our dogs, you are safe. This is your time to express what it is that you need. Soul to soul, spirit to spirit. Giving your dog permission to be exactly who they need to be, and giving yourself permission to let go of any expectation. This is a safe space, a safe place. And as you sit just with peace, of your back against this tree, feeling supported, or this back against this beautiful rock, feeling held, feeling nurtured, feeling the energy of the spirit of these beings, you start to hear the footsteps of someone behind you. You don't need to look who it is, you already know. It's one of your spirit guides that has come to support you in going deeper to connect with your dog, connecting your spirit to your dog's spirit. And you just feel a really encouraging and strong, comforting hand on your shoulder. And as you do, you just say, welcome, thank you for coming. And this guide says, it's now time to go deeper. Let's go to another place where we are connecting spirit to spirit and exploring what it is that your dog wishes to share with you, no matter how big or small. This is a safe place. And as we venture to that place, we now go to somewhere deeper before we bring in the drum. Because somewhere deeper as we hear an ancient language that is so familiar to you, yet so unfamiliar at the same time. So ancient, yet so new. So connecting for you and your dog as we now take away the understanding and connection of the vocabulary that we're so used to speaking. Hey, say, oh, say amalatak. Oche. Oche, ola matakala kota omo se alama. Owe, say, o malatak. Ocha. Ocha, say, o ma alatak hela se amalakoto he malacha. Hey malatak o masena. O mose alamatak. Hey say o moche. Hey say o moche alamatak alakoto he malacha. Wecha o mola se alamakota homanatak. Hey say alamatak alamakoto he. Ola matak. Ola matak he say eweche. Hey we se omo che alatak. Ocha. Ocha se he la malakota homo se alatak. O malatak. Ocha he. Hey che me se. Ocha he. Ocha he se ala makoto ola malatak. Ola matak he mache. He mache ala makoto homo se alatak. Alamatak. Homo se. Homo se ala makoto o malatak. Ola matak he mase. He malatak. Homo se. Homo se hela oma la koto he alamatak he mache. He mache olo mase. O se amalache. O se amaloche ala koto he malatak. Ocha he se. Ocho he se ala makoto he se. Ola matak. Ola matak. He se. Hey se. Hey se ala makoto he. Ocha. Ocha he se ala matak. O se ma. Ocha. 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 Hey ooh hey, 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 hey ooh hey. Hey ooh hey, hey ooh hey, hey ooh Hey away, 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 hey away. Ooh, 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 ooh. And it was just a really short sample taster of just some of the stuff that I bring in. I also do I really love doing my rattle and chanting as well, that I know Amanda had experience of as well. Yeah, but for now, just if anyone you did connect to your dogs and just kind of went to a different place, it's now time to come back. So just kind of welcome yourself back into your body, into your room, and yeah, just take time with that. I'm just going to put my light back on. And yeah, so to provide a little bit more information, I just did one yesterday, but if you want to explore this more, I do hold a couple of groups. One is called Indigenous Drumming for You and Your Dog, which anyone can join, and that's where like we kind of go deeper. So we set up the circle together, and we go deeper. So I drum for like half an hour. And then just for humans to explore their own journeying, to kind of connect to their spirit guides and power animals, and to connect to your spirit more and awaken that. Then I also do journeying groups for just humans. Your dogs can be in the room if they want, that's fine. My dogs are normally with me. But that was just like a little taster. So what I really want to share before I know Amanda's going to jump on, I'm also aware of time, guys, that Amanda's given me beautiful permission to share what came through in Violet's shamanic ceremony and soul work session right at the end. So this is what Violet had to say. We are many things at the same time. Take me, I am a dog, here, now, in this time, but yet I am more than this. I am particles that have been arranged in this order, but these particles can just as easily be broken down to create a new arrangement, something new. But everything is from the original. Everything now holds the original form and cannot be destroyed. It is all, and when it is time to break down, it does so only to be the same in another form. Nothing is lost, just different, so that the new form can have a different perspective. I am and have been many things. I hold the template that all comes from. We all hold this template, and so, as we may be many things, we are also of many things, like a gobstopper, all the things that have been and seen together. Now, I experience from this perspective as you experience from your perspective, but from the original design, it is all the same. You are me, and I am you, and through our divide, our split, we get to learn from all experiences, perspective, and forms. I can't express this. I can't express this in the physical form that I am now. That is my limitation and experience to have. Yet my ability to express and know deeply, to allow my spirit to express, is limitless. And so it is that nothing dies, but renews for a new exploration. Amanda and I were like that. How profound is that? This is just some of the examples of the stuff that comes through the dog. Sometimes it's very like now that more present day. This is kind of what I want to share through about like how loved I am, or this is what I really need, or messages for the guardian themselves. So I get really kind of deep things like that, and then sometimes get a little bit of that with them. As I say, going back to like, but I'm embodying that of a dog right now, so I'm distracted by the squirrel. But that's what I wanted to share. So I really love doing these ceremonies. It really connects guardian and dog on such a deeper level. It really brings up some stuff that you wouldn't even imagine. Like you wouldn't even, when you're trying to work out like, how can I better the life of my dog, or my dog's still struggling, or nothing's really changing. Like nothing that I've tried is changing. This is kind of opportunity for dogs to have their say, and particularly for dogs that are for any dog, but the beauty is for dogs that are really struggling to kind of cope in our modern day world. So that's it. I can talk more about soul loss or soul retrieval, or if anyone has any questions, I would love to hear them. If there are any questions, I'm aware of time, so I don't even know how much time we have left, or what you would like to share, Amanda.
There we go. At first, I want to thank you so much. That was beautiful. Oh my gosh. And just it reminded me very much of our ceremony that, as I was sharing with you before we even started this session, is it brought me to a place that is very deep within me, and a place that's very deep within Violet, and a place that I had not been able to access, a depth that I hadn't been able to access with her, even through meditations and other practices. And so it reminded me of that immediately as soon as I heard your drum. It's like a pathway to that space. And I just want to share that since we did this experience with Violet about a week ago, I've noticed in her such a lightness and a freedom and comfort with her physical body that she did not have before. I was thinking of it while we were meditating, and like I just little things, but other human companions know when you can detect these subtle changes in your animals. And like I was sitting on the couch and I wanted her to like sit in this little spot next to me, and I would usually pat, but the spot's kind of tight and she's a big dog. So normally she was not bold enough or comfortable enough with her physical body, like to curl into that shape. And 2 days after our ceremony and our time together, I just did that little pat, and she just climbed right up in that spot. And so it's these little things that to somebody else, they wouldn't even notice, but we noticed shifts in our dog. And, in addition to that, what you really brought my awareness to through this ceremony was that Violet has her own purpose for being here. In addition to being my dearest friend and our, companion and so kind to the other animals and beings in this household and being such a grounding force, she also has her own purpose to be here. And when we heard those words that you just read, it became very obvious that she has a lot to share. And I can't say that I was tuned into that before or had any idea how to even access it.
Beautiful. And you were absolutely right with keyword there is subtlety. There's just really subtle shifts that all of a sudden you're like, oh, my dog actually didn't used to do that, or my dog did that. And this deepening of it really is just honoring the ancient being that we all are, because we're all divine, we're all ancient, we're all sacred, and we're all here to have these experiences kind of together. That's the beauty of it. And kind of we forget that in our dog because we're so conditioned to be like, well, dog is a domestic animal, which we are, but dog is a domestic animal, and it kind of I have to teach my dog, and my dog has to kind of have these kind of restrictions, or this is a dog's world. It's totally different to us having a spiritual experience where we're all spirit. Everything that is living has a spirit, and that's what I really want to honor in our dogs and get people to really see and honor themselves as well. It makes amazing changes and differences.
It does. And things that we would never think of, like you said.
Yeah.
So, someone's asking, Zana, one of our viewers is asking how she would book with you. And so we'll direct people to your website, which I can put up right now. That's where you would go to, and then you'll see all the information there listed. It's a beautiful site, Dr. Isla. I was just there again last night, just refreshing myself and admiring how you've put everything together in such a lovely way and powerful. And we do have a couple of questions. Maybe we'll take two and then finish up. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, we had one back here. Let me just find it. Dr. Fishburn talked about needing healing from past life. If we can heal them in this way, will it carry into their next?
So that's it's a really good question. And so I really have to say, with past life stuff, actually, like, past life stuff's really new to me, and it happened there was a dog. I was doing a ceremony with a dog, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and that was the very first time that past life issue came up. And I really was like, I'm quite, like, I was like to my guys, I'm really quite new to past life stuff, and I've not as of yet had the training and the teaching of how to do like past life removal. So I'm leaving it up to you. So I just I trust my guides implicitly, so I just was kind of directed by my guides of what I need to do with this particular dog. And so, and in the instances that I've had where a past life removal was required, then what I have seen from just the guardian reporting back to me is that, like in one of the examples I'm thinking of, like the dog literally was different overnight. So yeah, sometimes, and it's the same for humans, like sometimes we have to go, oh, okay, these kind of fears and anxieties and traumas that I've had are from this life, or from my present day experience. Sometimes they're actually from our ancestors. They're not even ours, they're from our ancestors, and our ancestors didn't heal them, but they're still within us. So we have to heal them for our ancestors. And then sometimes it's past life, and sometimes it can be all three, which is why it kind of is work. It takes time. So it's the same for our dog. Sometimes it can be, okay, the challenges that we're seeing, or the challenges that the dog is actually from a spiritual perspective telling us he or she may have, is a combination of present day experiences that have created trauma or fear or uncertainty, coupled with, potentially ancestral experiences, but past life experiences. And sometimes it's and or. But yeah, from my perspective, certainly whenever we're doing a healing and we remove something, whether it's from the dog's present day life, whether it's from the past life, whether it's from an ancestral lineage, then that is removing something that is allowing the dogs, the way I describe it is like when you go into a river and you kind of like muddy up the water, so it kind of rises and then you just want to allow it to settle, so it creates a newness. It removes something that creates space for a newness to come through, for the spirit of the dog to be really fresh and fulfilled and be able to express how it needs to express, if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. That's wonderful. And, it just is a reminder of how profound their life experience is, just as much as ours is, and why they've chosen this body. Just as we say, before birth, the soul of the human being chooses its family, whether we want to admit that or not, or like recognize that or not, because some of us question our choices, but at some level it was chosen.
Yes.
And so our animals have a selected, from a soul level, life path as well, even if they've had a couple homes. It's in the cards, you could say, or there's a dharma, an unfolding of it all.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the same. Like everything is here to have that experience. So collectively, we come together to learn through everyone's experience, whether it's not just humans and dogs, all beings, plants, trees, water stones, all animals. So yeah, there is this deeper knowing that we've forgotten of like, our dog is still here to have this experience, to make the world a better place. That's what we, for the collective, are pushing towards, to have this coherence. And that's why it always starts with like, as humans, we have the ability to bring these blessings and to bring this beauty into the world. And we have this opportunity to do that for our dogs first and foremost, and then to spread that through as well. But there is, even in circumstances that maybe we're just like, well, I can't comprehend that, or why would therefore a dog choose this, a dog choose that? And it's about a collective experience. So dogs have chosen to have these experiences, and for us, again, the dog that we have, I have some of my clients where we're working with reactivity, and they're really just like, like, oh, I don't want to take my dog out. They're really struggling, and on a soul level, it's like, but you've chosen to have this experience, so actually let's just take the pressure off ourselves. Once we just accept, on some level, I decided to have this experience with my dog. So that takes the pressure off. Like, stop giving yourself a hard time, stop giving your dog a hard time, and let's kind of relax into this and look at how we can support you and we can support your dog.
Yeah. It's fantastic. One last question. Do our dogs have the same energy centers and channels as humans in terms of chakras? Shushumna, Ida, and Pingala. Now, I don't know if you know those as well.
No, I don't know them. Are they Ayurvedic terms?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but, so chakras and all the energy centers of the of dog bodies, dog beings, are they the same as humans?
Yes, as far as I'm aware. So I do like canine shiatsu. So the meridians are the same. Obviously the the autonomy is slightly different because we're two-legged and our dogs are four-legged. So like the energy center of the heart for ourselves is obviously from here and around, and for our dogs it would be the same position, but it'd be like around, but with a four-legged dog. So they have the same energy centers in the same place. And the meridians. Yeah.
And as far as I know from my studies as well, yes, the Sushumna, the Ida, and the Pingala, that's the channel of energy that runs the spinal cord, and the Ida and Pingala are these serpent energies that you often see in like Kundalini and stuff like that. Yep. And they cross at each of the chakra centers.
Yeah.
And so those maintain the two energies, the balance of the body and the spirit. Yeah. And so, yes, as far as I know, now there's not a lot of research that has been done on this. No books have really been written on it about animals specifically, as far as I'm aware of. One is inside of me wanting to come out, so that'll be there one day. But yes, every tradition that I have studied with or consulted with, they're all the same, and they're there, and they're very useful to know about and to work with.
And even like your energy fields, the different energy fields are the same that they offer us, the same for our dogs, because it is in that sense. It's at the moment, like at that time, we are a spirit in a physical body, but they're no different in any animal as far as I'm aware. And this is what I love with this work, like, because it really is, for a lot of it, even when I'm sharing with a guardian, sometimes it's too much for our like limited rational mind to be able to comprehend. And that's why it's just like, you know what, this is when we tap into our spirit, because everything is possible. Everything is possible. And that's kind of the fun behind it, of showing the guardian of just like, let's let go of these limitations. Let's let go of this restriction and open up the expansiveness of all possibilities. I find it really magical, really, really magical.
It is magical, because if we can do that with our own being and our own consciousness, we can do that in the place of our animals. And then we can do that in an even bigger sense. And my point is that this is what spiritual evolution is. And, just deepening our understanding of our capabilities of a body, mind, spirit entity. And when we can get that with our animals, we can harness that awareness within ourselves. And like Joan was just teaching us, it's a muscle that you work. So at first it's a little odd, and it's like, I've never even heard about any of this. I'm sure some of our viewers are like, what the heck are you talking about? But the first time, there's a first for everything. And then from there, the muscle starts to become stronger, more familiar, more comfortable. And this journey can lead us down a very deeply profound path, just as much as any other spiritual tradition can, any other teacher. The dog that's right here at my feet, or the dog that's right there next to you, is able to be the most profound being of light in our lives. And
absolutely. They are, it's almost like it's very one-sided, isn't it? Like we choose the dog to come and live with us, and it's very one-sided. But our dogs teach us so much, even about loss, about love, about life, about presence, about being excited, about not complaining. They teach us so much actually about the spiritual being that we are, and that's what I love, because like you say, as humans, that's our ability of remembering who we are, remembering why we're here, to bring beauty and blessings, to literally create harmony in the world. And it's a challenge because we've forgotten it. We've really forgotten it. But when we return back to that authentic self, that intuitive self, that indigenous self, which is where our dogs are responding. All of the animals are responding literally from their intuitive mind, which is the heart, which is what we are doing. And we are doing, we can do. It's just that we have forgotten. And that's why I love teaching this, because it brings us back to here.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this time with us, for your heart, for your friendship, for helping me with Violet, and surely helping countless others. So we can find more information again at the website that's there. You can find all the info. And then I just want to share too, from the Sama dog side of things, if anybody is enjoying meditation with your dogs and you want to continue to do that, we do share them regularly, brand new kind of original tracks that we lay down every week, and then we share with our community. So you can receive those by going to samadog.com/join us. I think I made a little slide for myself here. Yeah, here we go. And so you can see that there too. samadog.com, join us, /join us. And then we send out those meditations all the time. So you can just keep this practice going in case you like it, in case you're curious to learn more. Just keep open to it, and you will definitely love what you find. So wonderful again to be here with everyone. Let us know. Of course, I'll keep my eyes on the comments afterwards. So if there's any questions that come up, I can always get in touch with Dr. Isla. I can't answer them myself. And then anything else you'd like to share before we close?
Oh, wow. So much. Like, I could just talk for hours. Just really honor yourselves and honor your dogs. Right now I'm just really with a lot of the human clients that I work with, there is just, one of the very first things that I say, one of the things I often say is like, do you love yourself? And it's almost like no, like, why would you? What? Of course I don't love myself. And that's kind of where it begins. Our deepening our connection with our dogs, our deepening connection with ourselves and with all of life, and really making a difference for ourselves, which is where it starts, as I say, is giving yourself permission to know that you are a creator, and to know that you're sacred, and to know that you're divine, and to know that you are loved and that you are loved. And thank you so much for just joining us and listening in. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. Well, until next time, friends, we do Sama Saturday every month. It's the first Saturday of the month, and it'll always be announced on our pages. So be sure that you're following those too. And we look forward to seeing you again soon, Dr. Isla. I'll let you know how things go with Violet as the weeks unfold.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for being here. You all are a beautiful community. We love you so much. Thank you for your comments, for your love, for your interest. I mean, look how long you've stuck with this, and your animals are benefiting so much by that. So thank you so much to each of you. Okay, until next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.